Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for an experience like no other. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for The Mary D. Show, where the ordinary meets the extraordinary. The Mary D. Show brings you powerful insights and inspiring stories from a diverse range of guests. Join our incredible host, Mary D. Welch, as she sits down with thought leaders, business owners, and changemakers, sharing their journeys and successes. From career professionals and entrepreneurs to educators and beauty advisors, Mary D. Welch interviews sports figures and health enthusiasts, offering a platform for extraordinary voices. Explore the world of extraordinary people and places in business and finance, homes and real estate, beauty and wellness, education and empowerment, sports and health, and more. Want to be a guest on the show? Call 619-669-8603 or email mary@marydwelch.com. Visit www.marydwelch.com to learn more.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mary D. Show. It seems like it was just yesterday, but it was really a week ago that I've been here. But maybe it's me, but it seems like time is just speeding up, just going faster and faster and faster. So that's just how I feel. I like to welcome to the show our live viewers. Hi, live viewers. I like to welcome to the show our replay viewers. Hi, replay viewers. All of you are special. So thank you. I don't know what it is, but at the show, when it's in the little reels, the 2 minute or 1 minute, you guys love those. Only thing I need to do is put them up on TikTok. I don't know what it is about the little reels, but you get that quick burst of information, and you guys are off and running. So I want to thank you, and I do want to thank the executive producer for the show. Hi, babe. Those of you know that's my husband in the background, Oliver. He is always there, just watching, and he critiques at the end, and I always ask him his opinion, that kind of thing. So thank you to all of you. And before we get started, I want to say hi, because I think it was VCal. VCal, did I see you up there? I think I saw your name. I did. Hi, VCal. You came today? Ah! Thank you for stopping by. And I also see our beautiful niece from Atlanta, Georgia. And she says, hi, Auntie. And that is, here we go. I want to make sure you guys get up here, because it means a lot to me that you came by. So thank you for stopping by. It really does. And I hope everything is going well I know you were working on some flooding issues, VCal. So I hope that's all taken care of. And this is our niece from Atlanta. And she left another comment. I want to make sure I got that up there. Yes. So thank you to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, I wanted to introduce you to our special guest for today. I'm excited because I'm going to tell you about our guest, but let me also add why this is really is close to my heart. Many of you probably don't even know, but years ago, I went through a fire. I went through a fire at our home. It was, we were not here. We were at a Boy Scout meeting and came home and didn't have a place to live. Think about that. You go, just a Boy Scout meeting, nothing, spectacular about the day, just a regular day, and at a Boy Scout meeting and come home and do not have a place to live. I remember thinking when I'll tell you how the story happened, then I'll tell you why. That's why this guest is so important. When this happened to me, I literally came around the corner and there were fire engines on both sides of the street. And the first thing I said, the children were in the car with me, the boys were there, and with their friend, one of the friends, Randy was one of the friends with us. And I said, oh my gosh, that's terrible. What happened to our neighbors? I'm in the car with them saying these things. And then I see a fireman come out of one of the windows. I went into shock. I didn't know what shock was. This is the first time that I can actually tell you I went into shock. I literally, I remember, I don't even remember if I guess I must have put the car in gear, because I could not believe we were the neighbor. I could not believe it. It was like something from another planet. How could this fireman be coming out of one of our windows? And he was. And so, long story short, we didn't have a place to live in that time period. A fire had happened in one of the back bedrooms. It went up. They told me it got in the insulation in the attic, and that was it. It took the entire roof off. The whole house gone. You walk in. Now the shell of the house was still there, but there was nothing when you look up. If you can imagine, it was unbelievable. They had to rebuild. They had to take it down to the studs, the whole nine. Anyway, but I would like to share with you the first ones on the scene was the Red Cross. I'll never forget that. The Red Cross came, they were putting blankets around me. I started shaking uncontrollably. I was trembling. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, are you telling me that we don't have a place to live? It was just unbelievable. And all we did was go to a Boy Scout meeting, come back, and didn't have a place to live. And that's exactly what happened. So, but that's why I'm telling you this story, because the gentleman that's with us today is with the Red Cross. And I met him at a conference I went to last week, and I just kept going by the table and going by the table. And I just said, then finally I said, would you like to come and be on my podcast? Because I don't even know if he knew the whole story, but this is my story. They put us up in a hotel for the Red Cross gave us vouchers for, I want to say 3 nights. And then our insurance came, and I'm going to add this too. And I think me and him, we briefly talked about this. A year before I went through the fire, one of my best friends went through a fire. She went through a fire, and when she went through the fire, she said to me, now we're on the sidewalk at her home. This is a year prior to our fire. And we're talking, me and her are talking, and she said, I'm so glad I have replacement costs. And I looked at her and I said, what's that? She said, that means they have to replace my home at present day value, not at when I bought the insurance. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know if there was a difference. I didn't know anything about it. So if you learn anything from this show today, replacement costs, ladies and gentlemen, replacement costs is very, very important if you're a homeowner. I'm going to tell you, she told me that day, I went back to my office that day and I said, please add replacement costs to my, I called my insurance agent. I said, add it to my insurance. She said, Mary, it's $53. I said, is that a month? She said, that's a year. Now, $53 a year comes out to like $5 or $6 a month. So it's so minuscule until it's unreal. And I said, if that's all it is, why don't you guys just put it on there? I mean, I wouldn't have known the difference anyway. She said, we quote you the lowest premium to make sure that you get the insurance. I was like, what? She said, we don't want you to go to another company, so we quote you a low premium. All I said was, whatever it is, this is what I said to her. I said, whatever it is, please add it to my insurance. Whatever. I didn't know what it was. I honestly still didn't really understand. If I just be honest with you, I didn't even understand what it was. But I knew this one thing. If my girlfriend her home just is still smoldering, basically, and she's telling me to get it, that's all I need to know. I didn't really know anything else. I didn't care about anything else. I said, okay, whatever it is, put it on there. I had no idea. It was almost a year to the day. Almost a year to the day that her house caught on fire, our house caught on fire. And she had 4 children in her house. It was 3 here, but we survived it. But she did something for me, is she came and she became, well, that's another part of the story, but I will tell you this. This is why this is so important. If you don't, let's say you're a homeowner and you do not have replacement costs, they're going to replace everything at the value that you bought that house at. What I'm trying to say, because we have been in 20 years then, so the insurance was like 20 years old, you could say, because we bought it 20 years earlier. if I had not added the replacement costs, my own insurance adjuster said, I cannot begin to tell you what this is going to mean to you. She goes, I can't even begin to tell you. I cannot even believe you called me a year earlier. She said, this is unbelievable that you called me a year earlier, and now your home caught a year later. Your home has been in a fire. That's a real thing. So I'm saying this to you that not we're going to talk about we're talking about the Red Cross, but we're going to also talk about replacement costs because I did mention it to him, and he said, "Yep, you're right." So you definitely want to have that. If you're a homeowner, call your agent and make sure you have that on your property. No one, I'm gonna say this. I don't know how to say this anymore. Without jumping up and down. No one expects to go through a fire. Nobody. But they told us if we had been here, we would have died. The fireman told me that. The inspector, it was a nightmare. Like I said, I literally could not get myself together. I was like, what is going on? So I'm here to tell you. Now I'm going to end out with that, my Red Cross story. Now I'm going to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen. He has come. I mean, when I met him, I said, would you mind being on the show? And he said, I don't mind at all, because I think he knows like I do. We are definitely messengers in the community. And our goal is to bring good information to you. And he's not only going to talk with us today about the Red Cross and even how you may want to get involved with the Red Cross. He was telling me some things. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. So there's really a lot of information that we can all appreciate, I think. So, and before I do, let me say this. I see that some other messages came through. Where are they? This is that you, Waivani? Hi, Waivani. It's always good to see you. And I see Richard Nichols. Richard, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you, Richard? Richard says, hello, Mary. I came by to support. I just got on, but I have to leave for my family reunion. Okay. Well, good to see you. Always good to see you, Richard. For sure, for sure. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce to you our guest, our special guest for the show today. His name is Gerald Winkle. I hope I said that right. So you can correct me if I said it wrong. He has been a resident of Southern California for over 25 years with his wife and 2 children. Before starting in emergency management, Gerald spent 20 years in the telecom and publishing industries in the United States and Germany. Gerald now works for humanitarian services of the American Red Cross for Southern California region. Before his current position as a volunteer recruitment manager, he supported Riverside County for 6 years as disaster program manager for the Red Cross, where he managed thousands of local responses and deployed to several national disaster relief operations. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to the stage Gerald Winkle. And if I said it wrong, you can correct me, Gerald. Did I say it right?
Mary, you got it right on.
I just wanted to make sure. And welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. And it's unbelievable. We just met each other for the first time, not even 7 days ago.
Not even 7 days.
Yeah, I'm so excited that your story brought us together. And
it is.
And thank you so much for sharing this incredible story. I mean, unbelievable that something like that happened. And then even more unbelievable that you were out of the home and then... your resiliency going through the process and the shock you described. We see it, unfortunately, almost on a daily basis. Nobody wakes up thinking, hey, if my house burns down today, I know what to do. Maybe a few, but I don't even think I know what all to do. And of course, the shock, you just can't take this away when you see your home, everything is gone. And then, it's just crazy. And, a lot of times the fire departments, they of course do a great job and they save life and sometimes they save the structures, but when they leave, we see it, unfortunately, there's nobody there to come after them and guide people what's next, how can we get you back on the road to recovery. So I'm so glad our volunteers were able to get to you and put you in a hotel, and so you can regroup. And then even better that you had insurance.
They told me that too. They did ask that night. They said, "Do you have insurance?" I said, "Yes." They're like, "Thank God you have insurance." They were very much like aware. I mean, they knew more about it. Said, "You have insurance, you're fine." That's all they said. You're fine. Because what they were saying to me without saying it, we go to people that have no insurance and that's what I think they were really trying to stress to me. You're going to be okay. It's just, I remember too that the next day, because like I didn't even go in the house that night. I couldn't take it. It was almost like they boarded the windows up. I don't even know who did that. Somebody boarded the windows up to make sure that people, wouldn't loot. I found out so many things. People said people will come and steal from your house after you have a fire. I'm like, what? They say, yep, they will, because they think there's nobody there, and who's gonna even know, pay attention to them. So I learned a lot in a short amount of time. They actually, when they were rebuilding, they asked me to take the washer and dryer out of the garage because they said somebody's going to come. They did. They said, I think you should take your washer and dryer and put it in storage because somebody's going to come and steal it. And I actually said this to them. I said, I don't think my neighbors would do anything like that. And they're like, okay, if you want to take that chance. I never moved it and nobody ever touched it.
Yeah, it's probably not your neighbors, but those responses, they're kind of out there. You can look those up and where fires were, and then if you want to take advantage of that, it's very hard. It's very easy to find out and do it. So yeah, somehow you managed to do the right things, and I'm so glad you came out ahead of it.
But I would tell you, I tell anybody, it is a nightmare to go. Those are disasters that you really do not only do you not plan for, you think it's always the neighbor. When I came around the corner, I said that. I said, oh, that's terrible what's happened to my neighbors. Yeah. I never once said it was our house. I never even implied that it was. I just automatically knew it was not. It couldn't be us. Think about that.
And yeah, of course. It always happens to other people, right?
And then
on a yearly basis, we respond to about 60,000 of those home fires all over the nation.
Wow!
So if you break that down, I think it comes out to every 8 minutes, somebody loses their home or is not able to go back to their, to their loving environment and all that. So
I can't believe it though. I can't believe it. I think they thought a friend of mine came. They had the oxygen tanks on the grass. And she thought that was me and my son's heads. She just saw the round part, and they had to. I don't think she almost fainted. I think they said they thought that they had taken us out, which they said had we been there, we would have died because the smoke was so. It was so the whole entire house was. If the fire didn't do it, the smoke did.
Yeah,
I'll see that. So those of you who've never been through a fire, it's not pretty. It's smoke damage is just phenomenal. It's just like, because they said, well, we can get the smoke. What did they tell me? Get the smoke out of your kitchen cabinets. And I was like, no, you can't. To myself, I said, no, we're not doing that. And so he said, well, we have to take the whole kitchen to the whatever you have to do. I don't even want to get a whiff of smoke after this. And so they did. So they redid everything. But
wow, that's amazing.
And then I'm gonna tell you those, and let me add this, ladies and gentlemen. And you probably already know this, Gerald. People set their own house on fire. I was shocked when the investigator said that to me. I looked at that man. I said, "What?" He said, "People, they will do it." I said, "No way." I said, "I'm like, did you see this? Nobody wants to go through this. Nobody." And he said, you have insurance, you're taking care of us. He said, everybody's not like that. So I know you think that everybody is, but everybody's not. So I would hope nobody does anything like that, by the way. That is against the law for what? It's still, and people do things like that and people die in situations like that. They didn't know they were asleep. They didn't know a friend was staying the night, all kinds of things that happen. So just know it's a very, we live in a very dangerous world. Am I right, Joe?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. And there's only so much we can prepare for, but certainly there are some things you can do to minimize the impact it will have on you. So, like you said, insurance, and not only having insurance, but having the right type of insurance. Like you said with the
Replacement cost.
yeah, the replacement cost. If 20 years ago you may buy a house for, I don't know, $100,000. And 20 years ago, that probably, I don't know, let's say like $700,000. So if you would have gotten only $100,000, you can even build a garage with that. So yeah, absolutely. Definitely, always good to check on an annual basis with your broker to see that your coverage is still accurate, that everything is covered. Also, make sure to take pictures of what you have. So maybe you remodeled and all of a sudden, the replacement cost is higher, and so your coverage need to be higher.
Right.
And also you can use that as proof to your insurance that you had those things in your home. So it will make it a lot easier. And just keep it on your phone or upload it to the cloud. So even if you lose anything, you still have access to it.
Right.
Very, very important to have that documentation there. So you can prove and get your money's worth from the insurance as well.
It is, and I'll tell you, that's a nightmare too. I'm gonna tell you, but for those of you who've never been through it, they have what's called insurance adjusters, and they help you through it. They take a portion of your settlement with the insurance company. I learned so much in this, and that I had gone through it, but it still was like, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable when you are faced with I say rebuilding your life again. That's what's for those of you, we know the fires in LA. There are people that cannot rebuild for the reasons that Gerald just said. They have the insurance. The insurance is covering up to $100,000. They thought they were fully insured. They thought that if anything happened, everything would be taken care of. They had no idea. They did not have replacement costs on their insurance, but they never checked it. So they didn't. And even if they had it not been for my friend, I'll be the first to admit this, had it not been for her, I would have I've never even heard the words replacement costs, except for her. When she told me the word, but even when she said it that day, she didn't say it for me. She was saying it for her. And I just was like, I never heard that before. So how can I use this to my benefit, basically? So if I ever go through this, I at least have that added to my insurance. So definitely. And then there's, renter's insurance. And what does renter's insurance cover?
Yeah, renter's insurance doesn't really cover anything of the property, right? That's the property owner's responsibilities. But it does cover your belongings that are in the apartment or in the house. So definitely want to make sure you have it. And just like that $53 you had to pay more, it's not super expensive, but the coverage you can get for it really can make your road to recovery so much easier. And, just having it, some apartment complexes require it, and everybody, of course, complains about it, I have to pay more for it. But we see it every day. If you don't have insurance, you literally lose everything. And there's nobody there that comes and says, hey, I'm going to make you whole, right? If you don't have insurance. So there's a patchwork of organizations that provides assistance. We're one of them. And we have this special relationship with fire departments nationwide when they know if somebody gets displaced, if they cannot return to their residence, they know to call us. And typically within an hour, 2 hours, depending on where it is, we're on site, and it's all our volunteers who do this, right? We have about 325,000 volunteers all over the nation, and they're literally at the ready 24/7 every day, Christmas, New Year's, Rose Bowl, you name it. They give their time, they give their talent, and they give their compassion as well. Like we always say, half of what we do is just showing up.
Yeah.
And like you were in shock, right? And people don't know what to do from there. So just being there, giving you that hug, giving you that blanket, and telling you, yeah,
that I remember them more so. The fire. This is what I realized. Everything went to slow motion. I didn't know that that's what shock does. It slowed everything. It was almost like my brain was like, because even when I saw the fireman come through the window, he was moving like this. Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't really moving like that. But in my mind couldn't take it. It's like, oh my goodness, this man is coming through the window. That means you're the neighbor. If he's coming through that window, and I'm just, oh my God, my mind had to slow. It was trying to comprehend everything. But I do remember the Red Cross. I remember you guys, and that was such it was comforting because there was really no. My parents were 100 miles away. They hadn't made it here. They didn't even know about it when I first came home until I called, and then they came at night. But they were still in shock. Everybody was just in shock. They're like, "What is going on?" And this was electrical fire, and it went up the wall and into the I'm saying the attic, but insulation. That's what they said. Once it hit that insulation, that was it. It took off. I said, "Oh my gosh!" But I learned some lessons from that. Really.
And thank you for sharing those. It's really important. And it's so random, right? It doesn't matter where you live or if you're rich or poor or it doesn't discriminate.
Nope.
And, there are certain things you can do to prevent it or prevent the impact of it, but at the end of the day, it's just pure luck sometimes, it seems.
Yeah, because like I said, a year earlier, I was in my girlfriend's house. If someone had told me a year later, I would be going. I wouldn't have believed him anyway. I'm like, I don't think so. As if I have control over that. But the fireman said, the blessing is you were not here when this happened. That's what he said. You should be thanking God. That's what I said. Well, I do think he said because you and your sons would have been gone. You would have been, because the smoke would have. I thought the fire would do it. He said no, the smoke lulls you to sleep. So you wouldn't have survived it. I'm like, well, thank you for that bit of information.
and speaking of smoke, so that's why it's so important to have working smoke alarms in your home. And because it wakes you up and gives you a fighting chance to actually make it out. As a guideline, we always say you only may have about 2 minutes to make it out of the house. And depending on the circumstances, it probably may be less than that. But at night, absolutely, the smoke will overwhelm you. You won't even wake up and have a chance to get out. So one of the programs the Red Cross started in 2014, it's called the Sound the Alarm program. And we are offering free smoke alarms to any residences in all over the nation. And they can make appointments, call 1-800-RED-CROSS. They connect you with your local chapter, and then you can request an appointment. And we have a team of volunteers come out, they're background checked, they're trained. They will assess your smoke alarms. If you don't have one, that's easy. Then we know we need to put new ones up. But if they're older than 10 years or if they're not working anymore, then we replace them for free, no questions asked, and no cost at all. We also provide you with some fire education, to make sure everything else is okay. And it's a phenomenal program. We've been doing this for, 12 years. We installed, I think the latest number was 3 million smoke alarms all over the nation.
Oh, I never heard of it.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing. A lot of people don't know about it. So we're spreading the word like today in your show. And the event we were on last week at the convention center, that's where we try to disseminate the information about it. And really, there's no catch about it. You can ask anybody who had them installed. It's a really great program. You get brand new smoke alarms. They're good for 10 years. They're designed here in California in a way that you actually cannot take the battery out, which is on purpose, because if you get a nuisance alarm at night, you people take the battery out when they wake up in the morning, they go to work, they go to school, they forget to put the battery in there.
Yeah.
And we see it a lot, when we take the old smoke alarms off the wall. It's like,
Right.
oh, there's no battery in here. And so yeah, it's really a great resource. And another thing we offer in conjunction with this is for anybody who's deaf or hard of hearing, requiring hearing aid.
Right.
They typically they take it out at night, so it can be really hard or impossible for them to hear the audible alarm. We
Right.
also provide bed shakers, which it's a device that picks up on the audible alarm, but then there's an extension that goes under the mattress or under the pillow, and it starts to vibrate when it's activated. So it gives them an alert, a physical alert, that hey, you got to wake up. And it's absolutely valuable and also for free as well.
I'll to be honest, I'm so glad to hear this. I didn't know this, but I'm so glad, and I know what we spoke earlier about you sending me information. I can't wait to send this out. I already know there are people that need it and have been thinking about, oh yeah, I know I need to get a smoke detector. It's almost like we know it, but do we always do it? Is what I think it is. And so I definitely want to share this with, as I was mentioning to you, with the email audience, and I have a text audience to let them know free smoke alarms.
Mm-hmm. You don't know what you don't know. So thank you so much for helping spreading the word there. I appreciate it.
Well, what I know too, you mentioned, we talked about classes. We were saying that there are free classes that the Red Cross does for the community. What kind of classes?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Through our disaster services, we focus a lot on prevention and preparedness, so that don't even, that it doesn't even come to a disaster. If it does, then you're prepared. So those preparedness workshops we call them Be Red Cross Ready. We offer them for free. We can do it virtually. We teach virtually, or we can come to your organization or wherever you want us. And it takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and we talk about general disaster preparedness, what to do to prepare for a disaster, what to do during a disaster, and also how to recover from a disaster afterwards.
Wow.
There are a couple of like with anything, you when it happens, it's too late, right? When we have those wildfires and people want to prepare, then it's too late. So you got to have that mindset almost instilled into you before it happens. And it's not a thing you do once and it's done for life, right? You need to have a little bit, a few reminders, or have that mindset that, hey, next time I'm at Costco, so maybe I pick up another couple of gallons of water for my disaster kit, or things like that. So we provide those workshops, and we can tailor them to special groups, either if it's for caregivers, they have much different needs than a regular family, because they need to make sure they have this network of helpers that can support them in those disasters. So having those conversations beforehand with that support network goes a long way. We also have workshops tailored for the elderly or access and functional needs residents. So we can really tailor it to your audience, so that you can be prepared, be as best prepared as possible. Another workshop we offer is hands-only CPR. A lot of people know, of course, that we do first aid and AED. Those are classes that are, fee-based. But for our disaster services, we provide this workshop. Takes about 30 minutes, where we just focus on the most important part of the CPR cycle, which is compressions. That keeps the blood flowing, keeps the organs alive, and you kind of bridge the time until the firefighters come to take over. So it's another free program we offer, and so important. Again, like those fires, it happens so randomly. You at the post office, at the DMV, or somewhere. So somebody collapses, and then nobody knows what to do, or they're afraid. So having this training that removes the barrier to call you into action and actually make that difference. Really important. And then the last, another important section of our preparedness focuses on the little ones. We have a program that's called Prepare with Pedro, which is a cute little penguin and it just catered for K to second grade, and it really playfully introduces the little ones into disaster preparedness. There are two things with it. First of all, if something happens, they're not going to be as traumatized, right? They know, oh, hey, I know what to do, right?
Right.
And the second thing is they're so excited about this program that they bring the whole family in. When I started with the Red Cross, my kids, they were little back then, and they took this program. And when they came home, it's like, oh, Dad, we need a flashlight, we need a pillowcase, we need this and this and this. And they wouldn't stop until I actually got the things to them. So it was super cute. And okay, here's your flashlight. Okay, yeah, and we need this. So you have no chance but be prepared after this. So it really gets the whole family involved, which is awesome.
Yes, and it's a good thing. This is that's what it is though. And like you said, it takes the anxiety off of the or the anxiousness. I know when we had the fire, believe it or not, they let my children come in that night, and they told the fireman said, "Can your mother come?" And they're like, "No."
Wow.
Now here they are. They were like, were they? I'm going to say 13, 12 or 13. They came in, but they knew I couldn't. They already knew I couldn't take it. I couldn't hardly take it, and I was looking from the outside. And then that tells you too, they're more resilient than we realize. So, yeah.
Absolutely, and it is really a traumatic event, right?
It is. Oh, I still remember. I remember that day. It was yesterday. I remember it because it was life-changing. It was one of those dates. I still remember the day. I still remember all about that day because I look back. Here it is. We're standing in the front yard. All of us had got out the car, if you could believe this, and left all 4 doors open in the middle of the street. The car was sitting in the middle of the street with all 4 doors. That's how. And to be honest, I think we were all in shock because we didn't. It was just unbelievable. And the only reason they didn't use an axe on the front door was because one of the firemen had been to a party here at our home 2 weeks earlier, and he told them go through the window because they know it's not that much to repair a window. But I had talked to them. I told them about we're so proud to get the front doors. He said, "Don't ask for front doors because can you believe it's all true?" He said, "Because she's so proud of her front doors. Don't put an axe to them. Go through the window." And they did. And they went to the window because of him. He said, had I not been to a party here 2 weeks earlier, they would have extra doors. And then you have to get new doors. But doors are, for those of you that don't know, doors are expensive. Front doors. But anyway, but the doors are still there. The same front doors are still there to this day.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I look back. He said, I didn't want you to have to go through that. But he said, but the window, they were in the house before they broke that window and came on through, but they were going in and out through the window. I don't know why they could open the door and I don't know, but but I would tell any of you, please take advantage of these. And I'm going to be sending out flyers and things to really educate, especially about the free smoke alarms. Maybe some of you knew about it. I don't know, but this is the first I heard of it. I hadn't heard that. And the classes, I'm going to make sure everybody knows about those because they're free also. Many of them are, I think.
Yeah, all the education classes about disaster preparedness, they're completely free. And we're happy to come to your home. We do it virtually, absolutely.
I definitely have you do some virtual ones because I believe that, and I was mentioning this to you, I said, is this nationwide or is this limited to just California? You're like, nope, nationwide. Yep. The Red Cross is the Red Cross no matter where. Now, you've gone to some disaster areas, am I correct?
Yeah, I was as a volunteer. I started out as a volunteer actually about 11, 12 years ago. And I kind of fell in love with the mission then. And so when they had a job opening here in Riverside, the Red Cross a couple of years later, I kind of made this career-changing move, coming from corporate America and then really starting to feel like I can actually make an impact, and that really sold me on when I was a volunteer. So yeah, starting from when you become a volunteer, you actually get trained, right? You need to know what you do to give 100% to the clients and the shelter residents that we have. And depending on the position, it can be very quickly or a little bit more involved. Just depends on the position. But after that, once you're trained up, you're good to go, right? The training is the same in Alaska, in Florida, and California, so you're good to go, right? And unfortunately, lately we don't have a shortage of disasters, and it just seems to be increasing over time, right? So when a region is overwhelmed, let's say there's a huge tornado or a huge hurricane, or like we had the LA wildfires, we don't have enough folks to stand it up to in our region. So through this network of all the chapters around the nations, it's like they all come to this place, make sure everybody's good, and then they go back home, and then the next one happens, and so on. So as a volunteer, you have the ability to be part of those, we call them disaster relief operations, where we send you, let's say, to North Carolina for a flooding event. We house you, we feed you, but it's not a holiday. The days are long, usually 12 hours. We give you 1 day off a week. So it's pretty strenuous, but of course you're there to help the community, right? So you get you're pumped up on your adrenaline, so you make it work. And yeah, it's really nice. I met a lot of interesting people, and it's so good to be part of the solution. And I was a disaster program manager for Riverside County for 6 years, and you see the house fire after house fire, wildfire, disasters, evacuations. And really, the only thing that kept me going is to see how the community comes together in those times, right? Like they want to help each other. The outpour from the LA wildfires alone just totally blew me away. On an average month, maybe in outer Southern California area, we get about, let's say, 1,000 volunteers who fill out an application, right? And in a year. So January of last year, we got 5,000 applications. Wow. And then there's people who wanted to help. Double this with people who wanted to bring things or who donated. And yeah, it's just amazing how the community really kind of gets this wake-up call and say, hey, I got to do something here, right? Okay, maybe I can give them material things. Maybe I can give them financial things. Maybe I can donate blood, right? Because the blood banks in the donation centers at that area, they're affected too. And then some folks say, oh yeah, I want to volunteer. I have a skill set. Maybe I'm good with logistics, or maybe I'm a nurse. And all of that comes together every time when something happens in the world, really. It's really what keeps you going, right? And says, okay, this is good, right? And then being part of that solution, being part of that recovery, seeing people, transition from a shelter back to a new home, it's just incredible, and it's an opportunity or a satisfaction. I don't know where you get this in your job, right? And so I really don't think I'm working. I'm allowed to do things to help people, and that is, can't put a price tag on that. So
no, you can't. And like you said, you're part of the solution. When people are hurting and someone just shows up, just like you said, just showing up, that night when they showed up, and I was literally out of it. I had gone into the space of this cannot be real. What they say, the first steps in what you're going through is denial. I was definitely in denial. And even though I'm looking at the house, and it wasn't on fire, it was smoking, and I'm like, you mean I don't have a place to live? It was unbelievable. And the Red Cross, and they were saying, are you okay? And I was shaking so hard, I didn't even know what I was. I was just there. It was unbelievable. And to have someone just be there, and they just they didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. It was like, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know where we were going to live. I was just like, what is, but they were right there. They were right. I have to give them credit. They came and they said, we're going to make sure you're taken care of. They said for 3 days, and they did. They fed us and gave us a place to stay for 3 days. I was just so glad for that, even though and then gave us vouchers to go get something to, some clothes, basically. So I would tell anybody, if you're donating to a nonprofit, please donate to the Red Cross, because I'm a witness. They really do show up. I did not know that there were that many volunteers.
Oh yeah, 90% of our workforce is are volunteers, and it's not just the workers on the ground. It goes all the way up to those big disaster operations on a national level. It's not uncommon to have job directors there that are volunteers. That they just have the skill set, they have the time, they have the passion. But when it comes to those disasters, you cannot tell who's a volunteer, who's an employee. It's like we're all pulling on the same string and getting everything done, and it's really remarkable. It's yeah. I think there are just a few organizations where you have something like this.
They did. I guess I didn't even know. I had no idea how the structure was, to be honest with you. I think I knew there were some volunteers. I had no idea of how much it was volunteers. I had no idea.
And it depends, where it is. For example, for Riverside County, that's the county I was overseeing. The Riverside area, we had a decent amount of, Riverside City, we had a decent amount of people. Temecula, Southwest area was good. But then as you get far out to the desert, where you have a lot of people who just come there half a year or so, it can be a little bit more challenging to get volunteers. So I encourage you, wherever you live, there's always a need for volunteers. I really want to encourage you to take a look at any volunteer opportunity and see if you can run with it. It makes such a difference. You get so much more out of it than you put in. And just in my case, it was really life-changing. I was working for somebody's paycheck for about 20 years and, wasn't so happy, oh, it's Monday again, I got to go to work. And now it's like, it's incredible. I get to work with volunteers who want to come to work, who want to help and help people, and all the impact they do every day, every night, 24/7. It's just mind blowing. So I couldn't be happier. And
I can tell it's life changing for you. It's because you're changing lives and you're helping lives. And I think nothing against corporate America, by the way, because we need corporate America too. But I think what happens is you can burn out.
Mm-hmm.
You can be, and this may be for somebody who's out there. And you're looking for something to an organization to volunteer your time with, let's definitely say look into the Red Cross as a possibility. Now we have comments from our audience, and they are saying, let me see what the comments that they're saying. They are saying, okay. I want to make sure I get those in. I always like to definitely thank our audience for even being here, because they are taking time out of their day. The show used to broadcast at 1:00 on Mondays, and I realized that was not a good time. So now we broadcast at 5:45 to 6:45 every Monday, and we're live. So that's what I like. And let's see, I saw Richard Nichols and Wyvani, and I think this is Jazzy, and she's saying, nice to meet you and thank you for your service. Thank you, Jazzy. I tell you. So she's in Atlanta. That's our niece. I always say my beautiful niece from Atlanta. Now she is a super fan. She's here every show. Jazzy does not miss the show.
Nice.
So thank you. And then I saw, who else I see? Someone else up a comment. Is that you, Jazzy? It's some people don't really care until something bad happens.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think we never think it's going to happen to us. That's what I think it is. And unfortunately, I've been through some tragedies, and one of them definitely was a house fire. We talk about that. My kids, one day we were talking about how that affected them. They were, we lived at the Mission Inn for 6 months though. Now that doesn't sound that bad, does it? It really doesn't. But at the
could be worse, but it's not home, right?
Exactly. I was going to say that it's not home, and you're visiting. You're not there to stay. It's a temporary situation. So, but anyway, that was where we were able to stay, and that was a nice change. And then one day, I can't remember which one of my sons said, I told him to pick something up, and they said, "Oh, the maid will pick it up." And I said, "Oh, it's time to go." And then they moved us into a condo after that. So
Awesome.
I'm like, yeah, that was such a shock. When I heard him say that, I said, "The maid." I said, "Oh, they're getting a little too comfortable here. It's time to go." So Jazzy said it's very important to make sure everything is covered because you never know when, and it's always good to be ready. Jazzy, I tell people this is what I've said, which is the truth. I don't have an insurance that I've never used. Think about that. Every single insurance I have, I've used, from life insurance to car insurance to dental insurance. You name the insurance, it was a use for it. So some people, they say, "Oh no, I'm not going to need that." You don't really know what you're going to need. There's no way to know what you'll need. But I definitely want to, Gerald. Well, then before I want to thank you because we still have some more time, because I wanted to give you an opportunity. How would someone, if they're interested in volunteering, they would just go to, you said 100, call 1-800 Red Cross?
The best way is actually to go online, redcross.org/volunteer.
Okay.
And then you could just click on the start an application. We'll just ask you a few questions, what you would like to do, what looks interesting to you. And then one of our recruitment team members will get in touch with you shortly, discuss all the existing volunteer opportunities. We have virtual opportunities. We have things that are in the background. If you don't want to be client facing, that's totally fine. If you want to be with clients, you want to be out there, be the one, who wakes up at 3 a.m. to drive to a fire. That's totally fine with us too. So there's so many different options, and just as little as maybe 2 hours a month would be awesome, and you can make it whatever you want it to be. Very flexible. We train you, and most of the stuff is done virtually, so you don't really have to drive somewhere or fly somewhere to get the training, and that's all provided for you for free. And some of the skills, they really come in handy for other things. So we have communications volunteers, public affairs. We put them through training on how to interact with the media, how to make social media stories, things like that. So those are things you can take. You can take with you to other positions. Yeah. And I just sorry to hop a little bit on here, but I just got an SOS from our staffing department. We actually have a fire here in Cali Mesa.
Then I better go. Let you go.
No. I'm good. Luckily, the volunteers, right? They got it, so I'm good for a couple more minutes.
Wow. So right in the middle of the show, an actual fire just happened.
Yeah, so we're actually opening a shelter, and the way we do this to get the workforce there is we send out a note. Hey, are you available? Can you do the night shift tonight as a shelter worker or as a feeding service associate? And that's how we mobilize our workforce. And again, nobody thought about it. Hey, if I have to evacuate it in Cali Mesa today, they know what to do. But luckily now we have the shelter open. We have those trained Red Cross personnel that goes to the shelter, takes care of those. Make sure they have food. We make sure there's a nurse. We make sure there's mental health services there. There's spiritual care. So we try to wrap them around with those services to make sure that they have a good experience. And hopefully, in a couple of days, everything was good, that I can return home to their houses. And they didn't have to pay for anything, and hopefully had a good experience and some good food. And everything is good, but sometimes it doesn't work like that. Sometimes their home's lost, and then again we will provide some assistance along with other partners and government agencies.
Well, you have, definitely enlightened me on the Red Cross. I didn't know. My contact was that one night. I don't think I don't think I had any other contact with them after that. And when everything happened afterward, I did make a donation to the Red Cross because I was so thankful for when they showed up. And I don't think I saw them after that night. Now I think about it, but that night I needed them. That night, I needed somebody because I was just like out of it. And not that they really did anything, but they were there. That's what I would tell anybody. They were there. And I did not know that they were. I'm thinking that they were getting paid to be there. I didn't know they were volunteers.
Yeah, most of us are. Yeah.
I had no idea. But I want to encourage anyone that would be interested. It's redcross.org/volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, they do a background check.
Yeah, typically most the positions require a background check because you're dealing with some confidential information. You're dealing with financial instruments. So as a to be good stewards of the donations, we want to make sure everybody is trained to know what they do when it comes to giving out money. And yeah, it's really rewarding. And especially if your clients don't have that safety net of an insurance, it's so impactful to them. And you probably didn't need it back then, but let's say you wouldn't have had insurance. We also have caseworkers who will follow you through your recovery, and they probably will give you a call 2 days after to see if there's anything else you need, and then they get to work with other community partners. So if you have any resources you can bring to the table, we would love to hear from you as well. To provide those services to clients who have been displaced as well.
Wow. Well, before we let you go, Joe, first of all, I want to thank you for being here, but I want to give opportunity for any last words you may have for our audience.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me, Mary. It was so nice to meet you. And I was a little up, not sure what to expect. You can come to my podcast. As you can tell, I'm not the youngest anymore. I'm like, what is that? So thank you so much for letting me share this information and then sharing your story. This is so impactful. And two things I want to share with the audience today. Check your smoke alarms. If you're not sure if they're working, or if you don't have one, or if they're not working, call us, 1-800-RED CROSS. They get you in touch with your local chapter. Might take a week or two until we get an appointment for you, but we'll be there. We install them completely for free, and also get starting on your disaster kit. If you have to shelter in place, you can't get out, or if you have to evacuate, make sure that you have everything you need. Think about your pets, think about medications, think about medical devices. Again, I'm going to send some information to Mary that she can disseminate. We give you like a little checklist, and you don't have to solve everything today, right? That's very overwhelming. So start with a little thing. Next time, tomorrow, when you're in the grocery store, get that gallon of water, put it in the trunk, put it in your garage, and then just build from there. It takes so little, but keep doing it.
All right. Well, again, thank you for being here, and thank you for taking time out of your day, because I know you're busy, and as we saw, here it is. We're talking, and like you said, so SOS comes in.
Yep. Yeah, we got an SOS, we call them, yeah.
And so that's saying that this is real, ladies and gentlemen. You hope it does. This is what I think. Everybody plans for it to happen to the neighbor. We don't plan for it to happen to us. We never plan that it's going to. And I say the same thing about earthquakes, especially living in Southern California. We think, maybe it'll happen, or if it does, my neighbor, they'll have enough that I don't have to worry about have everything. I think it's going to be like what people did when COVID came, and people just ran to the grocery stores and cleared out the shelves, and then it's too late. If you wait until things happen, it is too late. It's too late to do anything, because now you're fighting up against everyone. I remember when that did happen. My husband, I didn't know he had already stockpiled. I didn't know any of that. And I said, well, don't we need to go to the store? He goes, nope. It's already in the garage. Wow. I was like, yeah. He had all paper goods literally stacked up, but I just hadn't noticed, I guess. But it really told he had been preparing for something, no matter what. He was getting us ready for if we had to be home for weeks at a time or that kind of thing. So, but ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming today. Thank you for listening. I'm going to say these numbers again: 1-800-RED CROSS. You're going to be able to get the free smoke alarms, which I'm just really excited to be able to share that with people. And also, if you're looking for anything with the Red Cross, you can go to redcross.org. But if you're looking to volunteer, redcross.org/volunteer, and they are going to be doing background checks. But all they're asking is two hours a month to volunteer your time, 2 hours a month. So I want to thank you all for being here today, whether you're here live, hi live viewers. If you're here replay, hi replay viewers. Anyway you're here, thank you. And thank you again, Gerald. And I look forward to talking to you. I'm very interested.
Same here. Anytime. Thank you.
You're welcome. God bless you everyone, and see you next week. Bye, everybody.